Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be relooking at a company we talked about on the channel a couple of months ago. This company just came out with blockbuster Q1 numbers, and they've had a number of operational changes since our last video. So I wanted to walk you guys through in a little bit more detail and give my bullish thesis on this company moving forward. Now the name of the company is Cresco Labs. They're one of the largest operators in the MJ space in all of the United States, and I'm super excited to walk you guys through their business model. Now without further ado, please take a second to smash that like button. It's 100% free to do, and it helps me out in a huge way. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, make sure you do so, and let me know in the comment section below what you think of Cresco, what you thought about their Q1 results, and if you're currently holding any shares. Now without further ado, let's roll the intro and get into today's video. Okay guys, so today we're going to be talking about Cresco Labs. Now I have talked about this company on the channel before. I did a deep dive video about 2 months ago, so if you haven't checked that out, I would highly encourage you to do so. But the purpose of today's video is actually to talk about their Q1 results, which were absolutely fantastic here, you guys. Cresco Labs is honestly one of the hidden gems in this industry, in my opinion. Now this company has a market cap of about $3 billion Canadian, so it definitely is one of the bigger players. But its share price really doesn't reflect a lot of the revenue and EBITDA numbers that we're starting to see from Cresco Labs. So I thought it was a perfect time to talk about my bullish thesis on this company, some of the recent developments since our last deep dive. We're going to talk about their business model a little bit and then give you guys my prediction and how I'm playing this stock moving forward. So I wanted to bring up the chart to start things out here. You can see as of close on May 26th, so yesterday's close, we came in at 13.67 Canadian, so up 22 cents on the day, which equates to about 1.6%. Now this was before earnings came out, so we'll see how Cresco reacts to that news. However, I think this company is severely undervalued, and we're going to go through that in today's video. Now if you scroll down a little bit, you can see in February of this year, Cresco is trading in the $20 range. It has pulled back a little bit since that point in time, and my average cost on Cresco is about $16.50. So I currently hold 100 shares of this company, and I'm actually looking to double down and build that position to 200 or 300 shares by averaging down at these low $13, $14 prices here we see today. So to kick things off here, you guys, I wanted to talk about their Q1 numbers for 2021. Now, in my opinion, these numbers were blockbuster. I'm going to talk about some of the highlights here, and then we'll go through some of the operational updates. So in terms of their Q1 results, revenue came in at $178.4 million. This is all in US dollars, which is a 10% quarter over quarter increase and up 170% year over year, you guys. So triple digit revenue growth year over year, which is absolutely insane for this company. This industry is growing at a very fast pace, but Cresco Labs seems to really be outperforming a lot of its peers. Gross profit for the quarter came in at $87 million, which represents nearly 50% of revenue, and that's actually up 16.8% quarter over quarter and 268.9%, so almost 270% year over year. So huge numbers here, you guys, we're talking about. Adjusted EBITDA came in at $35 million, which was an increase of 16.5% quarter over quarter and 507% year over year. So again, the numbers just continue to grow. Record wholesale revenue of $95.6 million, which was up 6% quarter over quarter and 150% year over year. And record retail revenue of $82.3 million from its 24 active stores, which represents 15.2% quarter over quarter increase and 193% year over year increase. So you guys, it doesn't matter what metric we look at here. This was an absolutely blockbuster quarter for Cresco Labs, and that's why I'm so excited to take another look at this company and start averaging down on my position in Cresco Labs. Now, if those numbers aren't impressive enough, Cresco also gave financial guidance for the full year. They're expecting annualized revenue in excess of $1 billion by the end of 2021. So this would truly make them one of the, if not the biggest company in the MJ space in terms of overall revenue. Gross profit margins are expected to be in excess of 50% for the remaining 3 quarters of this fiscal year, and they're forecasting an adjusted EBITDA run rate of at least 30% by the end of 2021. So it's easy to see why so many people, including myself, are so bullish on Cresco Labs moving forward here. Now, Charles Bachtell, who's the co-founder and CEO of Cresco Labs, gave some very strong words about the company's performance. He mentioned that they're actually able to sustain #1 market share in 2 of the industry's top 5 states, so that's phenomenal to see. They're gearing up to repeat this success in more markets in the coming year. They've accelerated growth through a diverse set of initiatives, including several organic expansion and merger and acquisition activity that we're going to look at in a little bit more detail towards the end of the presentation. And they're actively working to integrate the assets that they acquired in Q4 to really hit the ground running here and produce operating leverage moving forward. Now, a few of my subscribers have mentioned that I should talk about companies' cash positions a little bit more in my videos, so I wanted to give a quick update here. As of March 31st, Cresco Labs had $255 million of cash on hand. So if we convert that to Canadian, you guys, that's about $308 million, which means about 10% of this company's market cap is actually sitting in cash. And if you look at current assets overall, they're sitting at $382 million or approximately 462 million in Canadian dollars. Now, in terms of merger and acquisition activity, there's 2 that we're going to look at specifically in this video. #1, January 14th, the company entered a definitive agreement to buy out Bluma Wellness, which is a vertically integrated MJ operator in the state of Florida. And the second one we're going to look at actually was from March 18th, where Cresco entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Cultivate, which is another vertically integrated MJ player in the Massachusetts market. So stay tuned for more details on both of those, but definitely exciting stuff here and really positioning Cresco for even more growth moving further into 2021. Now, for those of you who missed my initial video on Cresco, I wanted to give a quick update on what this company actually does and a few of the highlights that weren't covered in that initial deep dive. So in terms of the corporate overview, Cresco was founded in 2013. It's one of the largest vertically integrated multi-state MJ operators in all of the United States. Cresco is built to become the most important company in the MJ industry by combining the most strategic geographic footprint with one of the leading distribution platforms in North America. Cresco employs a consumer packaged goods or CPG approach to MJ. Cresco's house of brands is designed to meet the needs of all consumer segments and includes some of the most recognized and trusted national brands, which include Cresco, Remedy, and Mindy's, created by award-winning chef Mindy Segal. So what I really like about this company, you guys, they're 100% focused on the United States, which I think honestly is where most of the potential in North America really lies over the next couple of years. They've got a very robust platform that includes cultivation, extraction, processing, manufacturing, and retail. So they really stretch the industry end to end, and they're really focused on this CPG approach. And that's where I think the industry is headed. A lot of the companies that I invest in, including Valens, WeedMD, and Tilt, are really focused on this area of the industry, and I think that's a smart play moving forward, as we're going to see later in the presentation here. So this slide is really important, you guys, and I wanted to throw it into the presentation because I feel like it gives a really good high-level overview of some of the different metrics at Cresco Labs. So you can see some of the same information that we've already talked about, the year founded, for example, but some of these other metrics are pretty interesting. So 2,300 employees, 10 states that they're currently operational in. They have 18 cultivation and production facilities, so again, very well diversified in that space. They have 660,000 total square feet of cultivation space between these 18 facilities. They've got 32 retail locations in operation, which have 44 retail licenses between them. So very deep portfolio from the legal and regulatory side of things. There's currently over 920 dispensaries with different Cresco products on their shelves, with over 5 5,000 different SKUs currently in production. And they estimate the total US addressable market to be about 63% of the adult population, which equates to 176 million individual customers. So obviously the potential in the US is massive compared to here in Canada, and that's exactly why I'm so bullish on this country moving forward over the next couple of years as we move into full federal legalization. So this slide actually takes a deeper dive into those 10 different markets or 10 different states that Cresco currently operates in. So you can see of the states that have the appropriate and approved regulations, Cresco Labs is present in each and every one of them. It also lays out their population. So California comes in as the most populous state in the entire country. Cresco is definitely there in a big way, and that's actually where they focused most of their attention here. They believe California is really the key to this industry, and they've made a point to have a strong brand presence and strong focus on that market. Texas is currently not part of the MJ game, but aside from Texas, Cresco operates in 6 of the top 7 markets in the United States. So again, huge exposure to this country's MJ market, very well diversified geographically. You can see they're represented on the West Coast and the East Coast, and they've got a really strong and proven track record of entering new markets and making a meaningful impact as soon as they take hold in that state. Now, in terms of their strategy, this is where we start to talk about the CPG, consumer packaged goods approach. So Cresco currently operates in 4 different spaces. So the cultivation and manufacturing, the brands and products, wholesale distribution, and then their owned retail through the Sunnyside franchise or Sunnyside retail banner. So they have a presence in all 4 different areas. But Cresco really feels the long-term value is going to be focused in the middle here on the brands and products and the actual wholesale distribution. And we're going to look at why wholesale distribution is so intriguing for this company. But this is something that I strongly agree with here, you guys. I feel like the cultivation side of things and the retail side are really going to be squeezed in terms of their margins as more and more companies start to enter the MJ space. Cultivation specifically, because we're already seeing continual declines in the average price each gram or kilogram of MJ is able to achieve on the open market. So I really feel once federal legalization comes into play, there's going to be massive outdoor and greenhouse grow operations set up, and that's really going to squeeze the margin and revenue opportunities in that space. On the other side of things, retail is definitely already getting saturated. I know here in Calgary, it seems like there's a new MJ store opening up literally on every single corner, and that space is really going to become more and more competitive, and it's going to be harder and harder to bring over customers from their existing or preferred retail location. But in terms of the middle 2 here, brands and products, if you've got a strong brand and a strong customer following, it really doesn't matter which retailers consumers are going to because they're going to choose your products over and over. And that's the same with the wholesale distribution, is regardless of the number of retailers in operation, they're going to have to source products to fill their shelves, and they're going to go for the products that are selling the most volume in the shortest amount of time to fill their retail locations. So now that we've talked about the Q1 results, a little bit about Cresco's business model and strategy as it relates to the industry at large, I wanted to talk about 2 recent acquisitions since our last update a couple of months ago. So the first is this Bluma Wellness, and Bluma actually operates in the Florida market. So this really brings in one of the bigger states in terms of population and really expands Cresco's footprint in Florida itself. Now, as part of the Bluma acquisition here, they bring in 8 new retail locations with 15 additional retail locations in near-term planning. They've got a 54,000 square foot cultivation facility with 68% of Bluma's revenue actually coming from flower sales itself. Now, Bluma is positioned as an ultra premium brand, and they really have brought in some strains and some potency that really bolster the actual Cresco Labs brand portfolio in a meaningful way. The average ticket size or average receipt for Bluma sales is $130. So customers are buying large quantity, high value products from this company, and the average number of units on each receipt or average number of products is 5.2. So again, people are buying multiple different SKUs and they're coming back over and over because of this ultra premium brand or because of this quality Bluma really provides its customers. Now, in addition to all of that, they also have a really robust delivery system. So they've got 15 delivery vehicles that service Florida statewide, and they actually make 15% of their revenue from at-home deliveries. So that's really interesting as well, and I think that's definitely the future of this industry. If you look at Uber Eats or any of those type of food delivery services, people want products and they want them delivered at their home at their own convenience. And I think it's great they've already got this infrastructure in place, and that's easy to fold into the Cresco Labs brand portfolio overall. Now, the second acquisition that I wanted to talk about is actually Cultivate. This is the one that's focused in Massachusetts. An interesting fact, Cultivate was actually the first company to make a recreational MJ sale in the state of Massachusetts overall. So definitely a good long-standing history with this state in this industry. They've got 2 retail locations currently in operation with 1 additional store planned currently. They've got 42,000 square feet of flowering canopy or cultivation space with a planned expansion to bring on an additional 20,000 square feet in the near future. They have 12 in-house owned brands, and this actually opens the door for 65 new wholesale opportunities for Cresco overall. And you can see up top here, by adding in these Cultivate assets, this actually propels Cresco into a top 3 position nationally in terms of overall market share and overall size. So this slide really does a good job of showing the total holistic view once Bluma and Cultivate have been folded in. Now, Bluma shows 7 locations on this slide. We saw 8 on the prior. So the total combined number of retail stores is likely closer to 34, but very strong retail portfolio. They've got 47 retail licenses between the 3 companies combined, with now 20 production facilities across the nation. So Cresco continues to bolster and beef up the size of their operation through these strategic acquisitions that they've been making over the last couple of quarters. Now, Bluma and Cultivate also bring with them about 250 employees each. So we're now getting close to 3,000 employees nationally. So definitely getting bigger on the total employment side of things. And Cresco now estimates the total addressable market in these various states to be approximately 111 million people, which represents about 63% of the total addressable market in the United States based on that 176 million individuals that we saw a few slides ago. And then one final thing I wanted to point out here, this is actually the current Cresco Labs retail brand itself. This is the Sunnyside experience. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage this Sunnyside retail brand alongside Bluma's One Planet and Cultivate's current retail banners moving forward. So to close things out here, you guys, I wanted to take a second look at Cresco Strategy and explain exactly why I'm so bullish on Cresco Labs compared to some of the other big operators in this space. So at the bottom here, you can see 4 of the biggest operators in the US MJ market currently. Trulieve, which has about an 8.3 billion Canadian market cap. Green Thumb, which comes in at about 7.9 billion in terms of market cap. CRLBF, which comes in at 12.5, and then Cresco Labs, which we saw coming in at about $3 billion Canadian. So there's really 2 aspects that I wanted to draw your attention to. Number 1 is the size of their company in terms of market cap compared to their revenue. Now this is Q4 revenue, and as we saw, Q1 actually came in at 178 million. So Cresco is really keeping up with a lot of these huge companies that are about 3 to 4 times Cresco's market cap. So although this company is valued at only $3 billion, they're putting up revenue numbers that are in line with Trulieve, Green Thumb, and CRLBF, which is really impressive to me as an investor and as someone who wants to add more shares in Cresco Labs. Now, the other thing that's worth noting here is the percentage of their revenue that comes from wholesale. So as we discussed, I strongly believe wholesale offers better long-term opportunity and value than actually growing MJ or the retail space, because I feel like those 2 ends of the spectrum are really going to be squeezed over the next couple of years. So if you look at the percentage of revenue that comes from wholesale, you can see Cresco Labs, it represents about 56% of their overall revenue. Now that's nearly double Curaleaf and Green Thumb, and Trulieve has virtually no revenue coming from wholesale. Now the other companies have really focused on the retail side of things, and that's exactly why I think this space is going to become so competitive, because there's already a lot of attention from some of these big hitting companies in the MJ space. So for Cresco Labs to differentiate themselves and really focus on this wholesale niche, I think is a very smart move, and I think it's really going to differentiate them and set them up for growth down the road, which is the second reason I'm so excited about this company. So for me, you guys, I think Cresco is a very safe bet if you want exposure to the US MJ market. It's definitely a little bit bigger than a lot of the penny stocks we talk about on this channel. So it does offer a little bit more stability in that sense. And I think this company is extremely undervalued compared to some of its peers and compared to the amount of money that they're generating and putting up quarter after quarter. So as mentioned in the opening, I'm going to be looking to add an additional 100 to 200 shares at these $13, $14 prices and continue to accumulate moving forward, because I feel Cresco Labs is definitely set up for some massive gains over the next couple of years as we move into federal US legalization. Now, even before that legislation comes into play, Cresco is represented in the majority of the big markets in the United States. So I think their growth will continue at this pace even without federal legalization, and when that comes into play, it's absolutely going to catapult them into a whole nother realm. So that's it for today's video, you guys. Feel free to leave a comment in the section below on what you think of Cresco, their recent Q1 numbers, and if you're currently holding shares. As always, make sure you smash that like button. It helps me and the channel out in a huge way, and it's 100% free to do. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel McNallie Money, make sure you do that as well. On a final note, have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for watching.